Welcome to Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. This is going to be a segmented speed run. This is segment number 1. This is still a work in progress. I'm going to be grinding this segment a little bit more to try to get a little better execution and the big part, better luck. But the route is not going to change at this point. I am Bayou Billy Bones, or as you just saw, BBB. It's by you, not by O. Anyway. So, first thing to talk about is this is the North American version, and you'd be able to tell right now at this point because the Japanese version doesn't have this opening cutscene. It just goes straight into Munchie and continue along. There's a lot of other really large differences. On a casual playthrough, you definitely want to use the North American version. It has full orchestral sound. There's full voice acting. In fact, I've heard Japanese players say they learned English so they could play the North American version of Dragon Quest VIII. But speedrun perspective, North American version is much slower. In every respect, the Japanese version is faster. But I just couldn't stand listening to the MIDI version instead of the orchestral version for hundreds if not thousands of hours. So, first big difference, make it slower, that opening cutscene. Text, of course, is going to be slower every time you have text on screen, especially RPGs, like there's a lot of text going on. It's always faster to have Japanese characters, because they're using fewer characters to say the same thing. You can advance through the dialogues quicker, there's fewer boxes to go through. Also, as you'll see, there's little helpful screens that pop up from time to time, because Americans aren't very good at Dragon Quest, apparently. Now, this was the first big success for Dragon Quest in America. They tried it a number of times. The game is huge in Japan, as you probably know, and they kept trying to crack the North American market, but for various reasons, which I'm sure many YouTubers have talked all about, they never really caught on in America that strong until Dragon Quest VIII was a big hit. And so it's part of the reason why there's so many helpful little, you should attack enemies and try not to die so much. Now, first optimization I want to talk about, advancing text. The North American, SDA, SRL, all the big speedrunning groups in North America, they do not allow turbo controllers, whereas Nico and the Japanese speedrunners, they allow turbo controllers. So as a result, they're allowed to use it, we aren't, and you have to find a fast way to advance text. The button to advance text is triangle. Fastest way to do it is instead of just mashing straight through triangle, if you hold the left stick forward, down, left to right all the way, it'll, after you've advanced the text, it'll go to the next box of text. So you mash triangle and you hold the direction. Triangle will finish the screen of text, and then immediately, by holding the stick, it'll jump to the next screen of text. So it's a little bit faster and a little bit easier than just mashing like crazy on triangle. Now, this opening slime fight, it's choreographed to a certain extent, and that you can't lose it, which we'll talk about in a minute, but you can definitely lose time on it. You want the fewest number of slime actions and party actions as possible. As you can see, it varies. If you go first and you kill a slime with each character and then they go, that's 2 actions from you, 1 action from them. Next round you go first, you kill it, so 3 actions from you, 1 action with slime, done. That might not happen. If that doesn't happen, you can lose as much as 15 seconds on a slime fight. So if you're ever watching me grind this segment out on Twitch, you'll see lots of resets from just that one slime fight. As I said, it's impossible to lose, so you think, oh, it might be easier to try to intimidate them or something to make them flee, because if you just do something as stupid as trying to use your sword as an item, which makes you hold it up to the heavens and it does nothing, if you keep doing that over and over again, they will eventually flee. And if you try to intimidate them, they might flee. The downside, though, you don't get that experience, you don't get that gold, and you don't get that herb. So it makes sense to just do it as scripted, do it as fast as possible. As you can already hear, full orchestral sound sounds so much better in the North American version. I feel bad about talking over it so much, and the person responsible, you'll see his name pop in a second, Sugiyama, composer for all of this. And the reason why it's full orchestral, they frequently do full orchestral recordings, and they'll release them as special CDs, which you can buy. So the North American version, they said, hey, if it's on the PS2 disc, why not just use the full orchestral sound? So they slide it in, and it sounds amazing. Now the route I run through here, a little bit different than the Japanese RTA community's route, and also slightly different from how I would do a single segment run, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But the big branching ideas difference Their branch is to get a boomerang as fast as possible, which is it's an overpowered weapon for this stage of the game. It attacks every enemy. It has it has a higher attack power than any other weapon you can get at this point. Pretty overpowered. Their goal is to get that as fast as possible, to get to level 6, so they can cast Evac as soon as they kill Geyser. My plan: get as many herbs as possible, fight Geyser at level 3, get killed, warp back to February that way, by taking the death train. Now, coming up in second is going to be the first of many frustrating things about this game. Triangle advances text, as we already talked about, but it also says no to prompts. So if you're mashing too fast, you will say no to every prompt. And there are some prompts where if you say no to them, you lose 40 seconds. So this one doesn't cost that much. You want to hit yes, because nodding your head is faster than shaking your head, and you only get 1 bubble from Trode instead of 3. After that, you want to hold the stick toward Yangus, mash X, you'll talk to him right away, mash through the dialogue, you're out, and you're another one of these lovely, helpful screens they only gave to the North American community. Now, first branch you're going to see, the Japanese route takes a left up here, pops into that house and grabs 20 gold. I don't need that much gold because I'm not trying to get a boomerang as fast as possible, so I just go straight to the pub. You see, like the woman there, there's always somebody in your way in this game. I can tell you how many runs have been ruined by trying to mash X to get into a chest, and you start talking to some guy who's 3 feet away for some reason. Not even looking at him, we just start talking, and I'm trying to get at a chest. And here, one of the first mistakes, big mistakes I make, after I finish talking to Kaldrasha, you should be holding right on the left stick and then left on the right stick, and that'll get you to run through that little gap down the stairs very quickly. If instead you're just holding right on the stick, you'll run straight into the wall and bump into it for a couple seconds until you realize, oh my god, I'm holding the wrong way, time to get out the door. And again, the reason why I'm advancing text so fast is I'm holding the analog stick up, down, left, right, doesn't matter, and then mashing triangle. It's the fastest way to get through it without using a turbo controller. Now over here, you see I took a little detour to grab this herb and these 2 gold coins. That's so I can get exactly a perfect number of herbs and have no gold left, because my gold's going to be cut in half after I take the death train back here. On the single segment run, I would probably cut out those 2 and then either add something else or just figure you don't need that many herbs anyway. And then maybe after death, pop up, grab the pot lid and the herb that are in the church. Now, the reason why I start turning the camera to weird angles, we've found, at least on the overworld, it's between 5 to 10% faster to run, have the stick at basically diagonal, and then have the camera at a 45-degree angle at you. We're not sure if that has something to do with the camera and loading the backgrounds, or if it's maybe in the diagonal direction you run faster because you're closer to the, I don't know. But however it works, it seems to be 5 to 10% faster on the overworld, and we think it's slightly faster through towns and such as well, so we'll be using it everywhere. And the Japanese RTA community agrees with us and does the same thing. And by agrees with us, I mean we stole it from them. So the first 15 minutes, as you can see, mostly cutscenes, grab a few things, cutscenes. The biggest problem here in doing attempts is getting tempted, oh, I'll go check my email or something, and then oops, I missed the text box, or oops, I'm already in town and not going the right direction. This is going to be our next prompt, and we basically want to say no to it, so you just keep mashing triangle constantly. And hold the direction so you get through the text faster. He's going to ask us, oh, did you find the guy? No, he's dead. And it, oh, okay, well, whatever. Then we'll go to the next thing.
I'm sorry.
We must give the...
And so if you're mashing blindly, check your email, you're going to mess up this next turn. You have to basically run behind you and to the left to get to these stairs quickly. So we're grabbing here, there's herb up here, the big grab is for that shield at the bottom of the well. You really, really want and need that shield at the bottom of the well here. And if you hold directly right on the stick, you're going to walk into the wall, so that's why I hold right and I turn the camera a little bit. You can't mash through the dialogues when we pop open a chest for some reason, so if you just hold the direction, you'll start moving as soon as it stops. There's no reason to mash triangle for those. But if you're picking up a barrel, you want to mash X so you break the barrel quickly. If you're opening up a chest, you want to mash X to opening up a cupboard, you mash X to open up the cupboard, then you mash triangle to get to the dialogue. So here when you open up this, mash it, gets through quickly. And talking again about movement here, of course, those little candles or whatever those are sticking up get in your way every single time you're trying to get around. You bump into the candles, you bump into the curtains. There's always something in your way, it seems like. So that is the first big accidental button you can press. For that part, it's fine to just say no. No and yes don't really change much going through there, so mashing through no, fine there. After Calderasha goes upstairs, she's going to ask if we accept her quest. And you definitely want to hit yes, because you will lose a number of seconds if you pick no, because if you say no, she says, oh, I'm sorry, she sits down. You have to go back to her and say, yes, I will take the class.
But that's...
And then directly left near out the door.
I suppose...
In the morning?
And then here you want to be holding back, mash triangle a bunch. You get past the innkeeper very quickly. Now so far I pretty much do everything exactly the same for a single segment. Only thing I would change, up here there's a separate stick. I end up selling it because I have a different strategy to do with metal slimes. You would want to save it if you're doing a single segment. And as a result, if you're saving and not selling the separate stick, then you're going to be plus 5 gold. And we end up with plus 6 gold, not quite enough. So what I would do is I would skip one of the 2 gold. If you remember, as we left the bar, there was 2 golds in a barrel and there was herb in a barrel. I'd probably skip both of those in a single segment. And then it would just basically be 2 herbs less than what I have here. But as you'll see, I don't need all these herbs. A lot of these are having them for the next segment. And there's a few things we can add in a single segment. So next big difference, Japanese version just leaves at this point and then goes to raise gold to try to buy a boomerang. We're not going to use boomerang at all, so we go straight. First thing here, equipping the shield, transfer to BBB, equipping the shield, and then changing the order. Reason why I changed the order, and you'll see I forgot it there, so I had to go back and change the order again. 5 seconds changed. And some dots. So, about 6 seconds behind where ideally would be some better execution here. The reason why we changed the order, Yangus in the front means that he will get attacked more and he has more HP, so we want him taking the brunt of the hits. And you see I sell the stick, you would want to save it if you're in a single segment. And then basically we're buying a bunch of herbs, because gold doesn't mean anything to us. Our gold's actually going to get cut in half, so we want to spend as much of it as possible. Hopefully all of it, so it doesn't get cut in half. As you'll see, the strategy coming up in about half an hour. Or, at this point, about 15 minutes. And a little slow advance in that first screen of text. So, total, we're probably 6-7 seconds behind where we should be at this point. Not counting the slime luck at the beginning, which is another 5 seconds, I believe. I forget exactly what optimize was. Now, single segment, I would fight all these enemies. The reason why the slime hopper coming up is fairly consistent at level 2. He's not very consistent at level 1. The reason why I skip these encounters now is I can fight slime hopper at level 1 and beat him, because I can reset a bunch if it doesn't work. And then these 3 encounters, the amount of experience I'd get from these, I can get in 1 encounter inside a waterfall cave. So run from 3 encounters and fight 1 encounter, a little bit of optimization. They're harder encounters inside the cave, but a lot more experience. For instance, I'm going to be hunting for certain encounters that'll give me 14 experience points. Those enemies you see, the cats give 2, the slimes give 1, and I think the guys with the horns are 3. So it would take a lot of those. I'd have to fight basically all 3 of these to equal the amount of experience from one encounter inside the cave. Now the luck on this segment, again, little sub-average the slime fight at the beginning, but whatever. And then flea luck here, not so hot. Every time you get blocked, as you can see, seconds counting down. Depends how many enemies, depends how many actions they do, but you can lose a considerable amount of time. If you get blocked twice, next thing you know, you're down 30 seconds. So 1 bad flea luck there. And whether or not you're able to flee is random. Eventually, if you're at a high enough level, and that level I believe is considerably higher than the level of the enemies in the area, which we're not going to be for a very long time. Unless you're much higher than the enemies, there's always a chance that they can block you. Now, I got a little bit of good luck here in that he did notice our presence, so that's 1 less attack that he's going to do. But strategy's pretty much the same. I'm going to psych everybody up. Normally, what I would do is I'd have Hero use 1 herb to heal, because I really only need a Yangus 50, a Hero 20 tension. And then I can use 1 heal so we don't get killed here. As you can see, level 1 and just straight psyching, straight attacking, it can be a pretty risky fight. Even at level 2 it can be very hard. If he wants to, he can just do, here's a flying attack which does extra damage. If he does it twice to Hero, that's game. And of course, his first attack could be Hero, and you're not going to heal yet because you don't know who to heal. And then his second attack could be another flying straight to Hero, that's game. So really all that happened with that extra luck here is I saved an herb. And a couple seconds of him not doing 1 action. But otherwise it'd be the exact same fight. So we're now at level 2. Our plan is to fight Geyser at level 3. You can fight him at 2, but it seems to be considerably faster at level 3 because you get more attack power. So it doesn't take it as many actions to kill him. Downside though, it's actually less of a safe fight at level 3 than at level 2. At level 3, there's between a 7 and 8% chance of him killing you, which we'll talk about when we get into the strategy of that fight. Here's the one part where I had pretty good luck, is the flea luck through the waterfall cave. It's quite solid. So grabs here, Chimera Wing, Herb, and a hat. The Chimera Wing is going to give us, we will now have 2 extra Chimera Wings from the Japanese route. But we will be down on experience and gold, but we're going to have a lot more time, which of course is the goal here. And you probably caught it, little flub in grabbing the second chest. Trying to hold the direction, start moving. If you mash it too fast, you'll look at the same chest you just opened and you'll say, hey look, there's nothing there. If you're too slow, you pass by the chest. So. Now here's the next prompt you have to get right. Right here, you hit 1 triangle, then hit yes, and then you're on to the next one. If you say no, you have to do a whole dialogue again with him. Now, Japanese route already has the boomerang, so why would you ever go for the sword, which is not as good as weapons boomerang, but we just have the really bad soldier sword. So, even though it takes a minute to veer off to the left and grab that sword and come back, we're definitely going to take it, because it'll result in about 5 fewer actions required to kill Geyser, which is going to save us time, and we'll have more herbs at the end of the segment. So first piece of bad flea luck, but as expected through here. And we're out after 1 action, so really not that big of a deal. As you'll see in the segment, great flea luck, Geyser's a little bit of a jerk. So. And the segment ended up being, I believe I said earlier, 32:30 for this part. Which at first I thought was also a really good segment, because my range had seemed to have been 33 to 34:30, doing some early attempts at this. But then I did some of best, and it looks like had I had the best Geyser fight and the best this flea luck through here, and the starting luck early, a little better execution, it's possible to have a low 30, if not a sub 30. So we will keep on grinding for that luck. So now the reason why I'm transferring the sword and equipping the sword here is so when I do get the encounter to get to level 3, I'll be able to end it faster. And also I'll have to do it at some point before I get to Geyser, so might as well do it now. Give Yangus the hat so he's taking less damage, and then give Hero the sword so he's swinging for more. There's 2 ideal gangs I'm hoping for. One is a Skipper and a Draki. Skippers give 12 experience, Drakis give 2. So that would be 14 exactly. And I need either 13 or 14, I don't know, but 14 works perfectly. Here it's 2 Skippers, which I'll take, because if anything I just have extra experience for the next round. Skippers give 12, by far the most of anybody in here. The next closest I believe is 7 from those Dancing Devils. So the 2 ideals would be basically Skipper and anybody else except a Slime. So Skipper and a Draki works perfect. Or you can have 2 Dancing Devils, each your 7 will come out to 14. So I only needed 14, I got 24, so 10 extra, whatever. Would be a little bit faster, just have a Skipper and a Draki. And I can experience not that big of a deal now because I can get a whole bunch in the next segment. And then once I get to the segment after that, there's Metal Slimes involved, and there's really no question. Now, I'm changing the lineup because my plan for Geyser actually hopes to have Hero be attacked, and actually get to press if Hero doesn't get attacked. A little bit different than probably most people's strategies through Geyser, but we'll talk about it when we get to that fight. So, as soon as you get in this room, there's basically 2 encounters to the crystal ball. It seems like the rate here is a little bit lower, especially when you're trying to hunt for one, but I believe your encounter rate gets reset every time you get into an encounter, whether it's a random or it's an encounter you chose. So I believe what happens is as you fight Geyser, it just resets your encounter rate to 0, and it'll take that many more steps to get to the next one. I believe inside dungeons, it's between 10 and 20 steps between encounters, and that depends on how difficult of a dungeon it is. As you'd imagine, they probably start this out as a pretty easy dungeon, so it's probably 20 steps to encounter, which becomes our worst enemy after the Geyser fight. So here is the run killing text box. If you say no to Geyser, you lose, I believe, 30 to 40 seconds. Because he's going to go back in the water, this whole speech will happen again. You have to say yes to Geyser or your run is over. Okay, we did it. That was close. So, strategies we'll see. First round, he's always going to Curse Mist. So, I'm going to Psych up with Hero, I'm going to attack with Angus. Round after this, he does his most devastating attack. I actually hope that that attack goes to Hero. So my plan is, act as if he's going to attack Hero, Yangus will Herb, Hero, Hero will second. Now, you going before him, bad. The way that they calculate who goes first in turn orders is it's your agility over the enemy's agility, and that, I believe, divided by 2 is your percent chance. So that'll come out to, in this case, I believe Yangus has a 33% chance of going first, and Hero has like a 40% chance of going first. The only time it's really that big of a deal is for that really bad attack at the beginning. The worst case scenario is Yangus tries to heal before Geyser, and then Geyser hits Hero. Now you're in a situation where the next attack could kill Hero, and you need Hero for this fight, and you're probably not going to go fast enough to heal Hero. But what would have to happen is you would have to go first, very low percent chance of that. Or you would have to go first, very low percent chance of that, especially for Yangus, who's the one that's going to be healing. Geyser would have to attack Hero, and they'd have to attack Hero in the next round as well, and you wouldn't be able to go first. The chances of that happening ever is 7.5%. So the reason why our strategy is basically hope that he hits Hero is that's the only thing you can't recover from, so plan for take that out of the equation. If I'm wrong and he attacks Yangus, it's not that big of a deal. The next round Yangus can defend, and then Hero can heal Yangus. And all you've lost is basically a turn. So big attack, he hit Hero is exactly what we want. Yangus is going to heal Hero, and now we're at perfect place for next round. Next round is a weaker attack. We're hoping it goes to Hero again. Yangus will heal him again, and the reason why he's in the front is so he will get more likely to be hit. If he hits Yangus, then we have Hero heal Yangus. Again, getting trolled. Bad luck Geyser fight. Every single time that Yangus goes first, he's beating the odds by a lot. And that's why at level 2 it's a much safer fight, because the odds get even worse. But it takes more actions, and so it ends up being slower. But still, 7.5% chance of this not working out for you. Now Sizz, this attack is going to target everybody. Heal Hero here, because he generally doesn't, depending how badly Sizz hits him, and that can range from anywhere between 8 and I believe 14, he might not be able to take the next attack. So you always heal Hero, and then your hope is that he attacks Yangus, because then Yangus can heal himself all the way back up with 1 herb. And again, so Yangus going first beats the odds, but it's only a big deal for that really bad attack at the beginning. Otherwise, I can always recover from it. Because Hero always has an action during the Curse Mist phase. Yangus might or might not, so you don't want to rely on that as your healing. So Yangus pretty much always is just set to attack during that round. So if he gets cursed, not that big of a deal. If he doesn't, okay, it's a free 5-7 points. And notice, if you didn't get attack and you're trying to use an herb, nothing will be wasted. So it's not that big of a deal. Now, that differs from using the heal spell. If you use the heal spell and the person never got attacked, you'll still cast it and it'll heal 0. Whereas the herb won't get wasted, it won't get used. So you can sort of option select and say, I'm going to use an herb on Hero. If he doesn't get attacked, I still have the herb, not a big deal. And we'll just change the order around a little bit as far as what the next action is going to be. And the reason this was a suboptimal Geyser fight is I had to correct a couple times for that, of him not attacking Hero or an order getting messed up. So same strategy, Sizz happens, Yangus heals Hero, next round Yangus could heal himself, and we hope that he attacks Yangus. And if he doesn't, during the Curse Mist phase, Hero is going to do whatever cleanup, healing he needs to do, and then get back to psyching up again. Our goal is to have him psych up to 50 as fast as possible, and he's got to do that 3 times. Once he does it 3 times, then we'll just start doing regular attacks to do the final little amount to Geyser. So there's the final hit on Geyser. Now, I had plenty of herbs, and we could have healed and be in a very good state at this point, but what we actually want to do now is die. The only way out of here is to die, to cast evac, or to walk all the way out. Walking all the way out would be, I believe, 7 minutes. casting evac, you have to be level 6 and you have to have 2 magic points, neither of which we have, neither of which we're going to have for another little while. So instead, we take the fight as fast as possible and then go die. Now, another little flub there you probably noticed, me not getting through, mashing too fast, getting excited about how quickly I just killed Geyser. Not attributing this points fast enough. And again, single segment, your points are going to be different, because you're going to want swords for hero, so you can Metal Slime farm a little bit later. But again, different strategy for segmented. So, another cutscene, and then our goal is going to be to die as fast as possible, because once you die, you'll go straight back to the last church you're at. In this case, it's going to be Fairbury. We'll go straight back to Fairbury. It'll heal us. We'll get all of our magic points. The only cost is going to be half of our gold. And here, only real gold that we earned, a little bit from Slime Hopper. There's the one encounter inside Waterfall, and then the gold from Geyser. But we're plus that sword, so we're not too far out, and it's considerably faster. Using the Japanese strategy, if everything works out well, you're back in Fairbury at about 38 minutes. Anything less than that is amazing luck, about 38 minutes. Here, I'm back in Fairbury for this segment for 32:30. The range seems to be anywhere from 30 would be the sum of best splits, and then 34:30 is the worst I've ever encountered, but I am optimizing a little bit with those early fights, so that might end up costing you an extra 30 seconds. Although, you'll be coming into the waterfall probably at level 3, which gives you a better chance to flee, so your flee luck might be a little bit better. And so it might work out to be almost the same. So Devil's not an amazing encounter, but a good encounter. The reason I'm removing all the equipment is that'll save an action, because now they're going to swing for more damage. And we hope that they just attack us. It's going to take 3 attacks the way we're set up right now, the way Devils give the amount of damage that Devils do. But he did the dance first, and now I had to do the dance first. And the reason I'm using the sword is so I don't accidentally kill one of them by attacking or something. It's a short action, and it's not going to do any damage. Nobody's going to die. I could die quickly. So we had a bad Geyser fight, pretty good death here, and good flee luck. And that's the reason why I came out to 32:30. But again, can grind it down to a 30. And then it's immediately going to take us straight back. There's a little helpful screen here that tells you, stop dying, you're bad at this game. After that, we lose half our gold, not that big of a deal, and we're right back in Fairbury. In this case, 32:30. If you're interested in seeing more, my Twitch is down below, and I've included the Twitch of a few people who run this game. Let me know if you have any ideas or if you're interested in seeing more. Thank you.